welcome to the Daily English Podcast. We are really glad you were here with us today.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. We know you're listening right now to practice your English.
Exactly. This show is designed directly for you. We always speak clearly, and we keep a normal, medium pace.
Right. Not too slow, but not too fast either. We want you to understand every single word.
But we also believe that learning simple English does not mean you have to listen to boring topics.
Oh, definitely not. You want real information, real news.
Right. So today we are jumping straight into a massive global event. I mean, we are doing a deep dive into the 2026 World Cup.
Yeah, which is happening right now, actually. It runs from June 11th to July 19th.
It is the biggest sports event on the planet. Millions and millions of people are watching.
They're watching the games, yeah. They're looking at the goals and the points and, the star players.
But today, we are not looking at the scores.
No, we are looking at the documents, the reports, and the real news happening behind the scenes.
Because this tournament is historic. I mean, it is huge.
It really is. It is the very first World Cup hosted by three massive countries at the exact same time.
Right. The United States, Canada, and Mexico.
Yeah, and it is also the first time they have 48 different national teams playing.
Wow. 48 teams. Usually it is only 32, right?
Exactly. 32 was the normal number, so this is a huge increase.
3 giant countries, 48 teams. I mean, that sounds like a great part.
That sounds great on paper, yeah.
But our research for today's deep dive shows a completely different reality.
A very chaotic reality.
Right. Bigger does not always mean better. In fact, right now, behind the cameras, this tournament is kind of falling apart.
It really is struggling.
Yeah.
We have teams that are literally locked out of borders.
We have stadiums with no workers to clean them or sell food.
Yeah, and we even have wild animals attacking training camps.
Which is just crazy. And also, very sadly, some frightening violence outside the player hotels.
The logistics are just failing. Logistics means the organization and planning.
Right, moving people and things around.
Exactly. When you build a machine this big, with 48 teams traveling all across North America, every single part must work perfectly.
Like a giant clock.
Right. If one tiny piece breaks, the whole machine stops. And right now, many parts are breaking at the exact same time.
So let us start with the most basic step. I mean, before you can play a football match in a country, you have to actually enter that country.
You have to get through the front door.
Exactly. You have to walk through the door. But for several teams and officials right now, that door is locked shut.
It is locked tight. They cannot get inside because of massive visa delays.
Okay, let us break that down for the listener. The visa crisis. What exactly is a visa in simple English?
Sure. A visa is basically an official permission stamp from a government.
Like a permission slip to enter.
Exactly. It allows a person to cross the border legally. You simply cannot travel without it.
Right. If you do not have the stamp, you do not get on the airplane.
That is right. And right now, the reports show that getting this permission, especially to enter the United States, is extremely difficult.
Extremely difficult. I mean, we are seeing this with the Iranian national football team, right?
Yes. The entire Iranian team is struggling heavily to get their visas approved.
Wait, the entire team?
The whole team, yeah.
I mean, I understand if one player forgets a paper or, makes a mistake on the form.
Right, that happens all the time.
But how does an entire national team get blocked from entering a World Cup?
Well, it is because the border rules do not change just for sports.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, there are very complex, very strict travel policies in place, and we need to be very clear here for the listener.
Right, we are just looking at the facts.
Exactly. We are looking strictly at the facts of the border process without taking any political sides at all.
We stay neutral.
Always neutral. The fact is, the United States government has strict security procedures for people from certain countries.
And the Iranian team has to follow those rules.
Yes. They must go through those exact same procedures. There is no special fast line just because they are famous football players.
Wow. So they just have to wait like everybody else.
They just have to wait.
That is a huge problem. You cannot really have a World Cup if one of the big teams is just missing.
No, it ruins the schedule.
And it is not just the Iranian team, right? The reports show that individual people from other countries are trapped in this system, too.
That is correct, yeah. Zakaria El Wadi, who is a very important player for the Moroccan team, is facing severe visa issues.
So he is stuck waiting, too.
He is stuck. And maybe even more concerning for the people organizing the games, referees are being blocked.
Wait, referees? The people who judge the game?
Yes. Omar Artan, He is a referee from Somalia, and he is facing major visa delays right now.
You definitely cannot play a professional football game without a referee.
No, that is impossible.
But let me challenge this process for a second. These are world famous events. The organizers have years to plan this.
Right, they know it is coming for a long time.
So why do they not just fix all this paperwork earlier? Why wait until the last minute?
It is a good question, but the answer is that the host countries are sovereign nations.
Meaning they make their own laws.
Exactly. FIFA, which is the global football organization, they can organize a tournament, but they do not control the border police.
Right, FIFA is not a government.
Exactly. The border police control the border.
Right.
Even if FIFA sends a nice letter saying, we really need Omar Artan to referee a match on Tuesday.
The government does not care about Tuesday.
They do not care. The government will still process his background check at their own normal speed.
They will check his history, check his documents.
Yeah, all of it. If the computer system takes 3 months, it takes 3 months. The football game schedule simply does not matter to the border security.
Wow. Okay, so getting the visa is incredibly stressful. But our research shows the stress does not stop when the visa is finally approved.
No, not at all.
What happens when these players who finally got their stamp actually land at the airports in the United States?
Well, this is shocking, but they are being detained.
Detained. Let us explain that word for our listener.
Good idea. Detained means you are kept somewhere by the police or security. You are not free to leave.
So you are stuck.
Exactly. When these players get off the airplane, they are not just walking outside to a comfortable bus.
Like normal travelers.
Right. Instead, they were pulled out of the normal line by security officers. They are detained in a separate room.
Even with the visa, they already have the permission.
Yes, even with the visa. The visa just allows you to fly to the airport. But the border officer standing there makes the final decision.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, and the reports describe these very long, very exhausting security reviews in these airport rooms.
Let us think about what that physically means for an athlete. A professional football player has a very strict physical routine, right?
Very strict. Their bodies are their jobs.
Right. And they just flew for 10, maybe 12 hours across the ocean.
In a tight airplane seat.
Yeah. Their legs are tight, their backs hurt, their bodies need good food, they need to stretch, and they need proper sleep.
Right.
And now, instead of resting, they're sitting in a hard plastic chair in a small room at the airport for hours and hours.
Exactly.
No.
It's terrible for them. They cannot use their phones usually. They cannot call their coaches to say they landed.
They cannot sleep properly in a plastic chair.
No. The physical damage of sitting in a stressful, uncomfortable room for many hours. It ruins their physical preparation. It causes severe fatigue.
Fatigue meaning extreme tiredness.
Yes. Deep, deep tiredness in the muscles.
It totally destroys their training schedule. I mean, if they're sitting in an airport room, they are not out on the grass practicing.
No. They are losing valuable time. And mentally, it is exhausting, too. Imagine the frustration.
Right. You are treated with high suspicion.
You are answering the same questions over and over again from guards. And then finally, maybe after 6 hours, they let you go.
But now you are angry.
You are angry, you are tired, you are stressed.
Yeah.
And now you have to go play the biggest football match of your entire life.
Against the best players in the whole world. That is a huge disadvantage.
It really is.
Okay, so that gives us a very clear picture of the airport crisis. The border is basically a massive wall right now.
A very slow wall.
Right. But let us say you get through. You survive the visa process. You survive the airport tension. You finally get out.
You take a deep breath.
You take a deep breath. You arrive in the city. But now you need an actual stadium to play in.
Yes, you need a field.
And this brings us to the next big crisis. A massive human problem happening in Los Angeles, California.
Yeah, this is the stadium strike. So
Yeah.
Los Angeles is home to SoFi Stadium.
Right, SoFi. It is very famous.
Very famous, very huge, and a very modern, expensive stadium. It was chosen for some of the biggest World Cup matches.
But the stadium is facing a massive labor crisis right now.
Yes, over 2,000 workers are refusing to work.
2,000. They are on strike.
It's exactly a strike. For our listener, let us explain that. These workers belong to a labor union.
Right. A union is a group of workers.
Yes, an organized group. They join together to negotiate with their bosses. They use their numbers to ask for better pay or safer working conditions.
Better hours, things like that.
Exactly. And right now, the union believes their work contracts are bad. They think the rules are unfair.
And the bosses will not change the rules.
Right, because the bosses will not agree to better terms. The workers voted to strike. That means they stopped working completely.
They just walked out
Yes,
2,000 people.
that is a massive, massive hole in the workforce. What exactly do these 2,000 people do inside the stadium?
They do literally everything that keeps the stadium running.
Give me some examples.
Well, they cook the hot dogs, they sell the water, they clean the bathrooms.
Very important.
Very important. They check the tickets at the main gates, they sweep up all the garbage from the seats after a game, they manage the huge parking lots.
Wow. Okay, so a stadium is basically like a small city. That is a perfect way to describe it. It is a small city. When 70,000 fans arrive to watch a football game, that city needs workers to function.
Right. Without those workers, the stadium is not a venue. It is just a large, empty, dirty building.
Exactly.
Okay, I understand that the workers are vital. They are super important.
Yes.
But let me look at this from the side of the stadium managers for a second. The bosses.
Okay.
If I am the boss and 2,000 people go on strike right before the World Cup, I am going to panic.
Of course you are.
But then I am going to try and find new workers, right? I mean, there are millions of people living in Los Angeles.
Millions and millions.
So why can the managers not just hire 2,000 new people for a few weeks?
You mean just replace them?
Yeah, just replace them temporarily,
Yeah.
pay some new people cash, tell them to sweep the floors, scan the tickets, and just keep the games running. Problem solved, right?
That is a very logical business solution, yes. But it is entirely impossible because of FIFA's rules.
Wait, why is it impossible?
Because FIFA manages the World Cup with extreme security protocols. You cannot just hire a random person off the street and let them inside the stadium.
Why not? I mean, if they are just selling hot dogs or, scooping the floors, what is the danger in that?
The danger is access.
Access.
Yes. A worker inside the stadium can move around freely. They can get close to the players. They can go near the private locker rooms.
Oh, I see.
They have access to the food and the water supply for the entire building.
Right, which is a huge security risk.
Massive. Because it's a huge global event, it is a high-profile target for serious crimes or even terrorism.
Right, everyone in the world is watching.
Exactly. Therefore, FIFA requires every single worker to have a deep security clearance.
A background check. Let us make sure the listener knows what that is.
Good point.
Okay.
A background check is when the police and security agencies look at your past. They review the history of every single person who wants to work in the stadium.
You check your criminal record.
Yes. They check your identity documents to make sure you are who you say you are.
They probably interview people.
Often, yes.
Yep.
And only when a person passes this very long review do they receive an official security badge.
A plastic badge they wear on their shirt.
Right. And that badge is the only way to open the locked doors inside the stadium.
Mm-mm.
It scans you in.
Okay, so the stadium bosses cannot just hire replacement workers because those new people on the street do not have the security badge.
Exactly. They do not have the clearance. And doing background checks on 2,000 brand new people would take weeks.
Maybe even months.
Easily months. The government security agencies are already busy. They simply cannot process 2,000 stadium cleaners overnight. It is impossible.
Wow, that is actually a brilliant explanation of the mechanism here. The rules that were created to keep the stadium safe.
Yes.
Those exact safety rules are the reason the stadium might have to close down completely.
It is a perfect trap. The managers are completely trapped.
Because they cannot operate the building without workers, but they cannot legally replace the striking workers because of the background checks.
Right. It is a perfect storm.
Yeah.
And the workers in the union, they know this, of course.
They know they have the power.
Immense power right now.
Yeah.
The World Cup cannot wait. The games are scheduled for specific days. The whole world is watching on television.
So the union is using this huge time pressure to force the bosses to give them a better work contract.
Exactly. It is very smart strategy by the union, but it threatens to stop the games in Los Angeles completely.
Because if the bathrooms are overflowing with trash, and there is no food, and there is no security at the gates...
The local government will shut it down. They will not allow 70,000 fans inside a dirty, unsafe building. It becomes a health and safety violation.
Wow. So the organizers are facing a complete operational failure there.
Complete failure.
Okay, so we have human borders causing problems. We have human labor disputes causing problems.
Humans are very complicated.
They are. But the next story from our research today is completely out of human control.
Yes, this one is wild.
It really is. When we think of a sports crisis, we usually think of bad weather or maybe broken equipment.
Sure. Raining too hard or a bus breaking down.
Right. We do not think about wild animals. But that is exactly what is happening right now to the national teams of Switzerland and Norway.
This is honestly one of the most unbelievable reports in the entire stack of sources we read.
Please explain what is happening.
Okay, so Switzerland and Norway, they have built private training camps to prepare for their matches, right?
Like a private football field just for them to practice.
Exactly. But these camps are currently dealing with a massive snake invasion.
Wait, snakes.
Yes.
Like real, live, crawling snakes.
Real wild snakes.
Mhm.
Lots of them. The reports use very strong language. The news sources say the training camps are being besieged by snakes.
Besieged. Okay, listener, let us look at that word. Besieged.
It is a great word to learn.
It is a military word, really. Like in
Yeah.
an old movie, if an army besieges a castle, they surround it completely.
Why? They make a circle around the castle?
They trap the people inside, they do not let anyone in, they do not let anyone out, and they constantly attack the borders of the castle.
That is exactly what the word means. And in this case, the snakes have surrounded the football camps.
The players and the coaches are basically trapped by a natural blockade.
Yes. The sources actually call it a real disaster.
But how does something like this even happen? I mean, how do you lose a multi-million-dollar football facility to reptiles, to snakes?
Well, it actually comes down to geography and how we build things.
Okay, explain that.
So the organizers need very large, flat, quiet areas to build these private training camps, right?
Right, they want peace and quiet for the players.
Exactly. So they often build them on the edges of cities, near natural wild areas, forests or deserts.
Places with a lot of empty land.
Yes, they cut down the tall, wild grass and build these beautiful, perfect green football fields.
But that land belonged to the local wildlife first.
Exactly. And when you build a warm, sunny facility with lots of fresh water for the grass, it attracts the local animals.
It is basically a resort for animals.
Yes. And in this specific area, the local animals happen to be snakes. They like the warm grass. They like the water.
And the timing of this could not possibly be worse. The reports mention that Switzerland and Norway are trying to prepare for very tough, very important upcoming matches.
Yes, they are playing against Qatar and Iraq soon.
And preparation is everything in the World Cup, right?
It is the most important thing. Teams spend hours every single day practicing very specific plays.
They practice free kicks, corner kicks, passing the ball in patterns.
Right. And doing that perfectly requires total, absolute mental focus.
Which you cannot have if you are terrified of stepping on a snake.
Exactly. Think about it. Football is played on the grass. You are running, and you are constantly looking down at the ball at your feet.
Right, but if you are looking down and you are constantly scanning the grass just to make sure a snake is not hiding near your shoe.
You are definitely not thinking about the football match. The fear completely destroys the practice session.
Because you cannot slide on the ground to get the ball.
No way.
You cannot run fast into the tall grass at the edge of the field to get a ball that went out of bounds.
You would be too scared. The whole team is basically paralyzed.
It is just incredible. Human beings spent billions of dollars organizing this giant event.
Billions of dollars.
They use the most advanced computers, perfect nutrition for the athletes, the best airplanes in the sky.
And all of that money and all of that technology is completely defeated by some snakes who just want to lie in the warm sun. Nature always wins in the end. Always.
It really does. But the snakes are not the only natural problem, are they?
No, they are not. Our sources show another team fighting a very losing battle against the environment.
Right, the national team of Morocco.
Yes, Morocco.
They are not fighting animals, though. They are fighting the air itself.
Exactly. The weather. Morocco is struggling heavily with extreme heat and extreme humidity in their training locations.
Extreme heat and humidity. Okay, listener, let us explain why humidity is so dangerous for athletes. Because it is not just about feeling hot.
No, it is a biological problem.
Right. So when it is just hot and dry outside, your body naturally sweats. Water comes out of your skin.
Yes.
And that sweat evaporates into the dry air. It turns from liquid into gas. And that evaporation process actually cools your skin down.
Right, sweating is your body's natural air conditioning system.
Exactly. But when the humidity is high, that means the air is already full of water. The air is very wet.
Yes, like a jungle.
So because the air is already wet, your sweat cannot evaporate into it. There is no room in the air for your sweat.
Right, the water just stays trapped on your skin.
So your natural air conditioning breaks down.
Completely breaks. And that means the players' internal body temperatures just keep rising and rising.
They get hotter and hotter, and their hearts have to pump much harder just to survive the heat.
It is incredibly dangerous. They cannot run as fast. They cannot train for as long. They risk heat stroke.
Which is a very serious medical emergency. People can die from heat stroke.
Yes. So Morocco is already suffering from this terrible heavy weather. But the sources show that nature dealt them another heavy blow during this time.
A really bad situation got worse. What happened?
Well, during a friendly practice match against Norway, Morocco's star player was injured.
Oh, no. A friendly match. Let us define that. A friendly match is supposed to be a safe, easy practice game before the real tournament starts, right?
Yes, exactly. It does not count for points. It is just a warm-up. It is just to keep the legs moving, practice your strategy against real people.
But injuries still happen in practice.
They do. And when you combine the serious injury of your star player with the deep exhaustion of extreme heat and humidity,
The Moroccan team's preparation is basically ruined.
it is severely damaged, yeah.
And wait, let us remember what we talked about at the very beginning of the deep dive.
About the visas.
Yeah. We mentioned earlier that Zakaria El Wadi, a very important player from the Moroccan team, is also stuck in the visa crisis.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
So the problems just stack on top of each other?
It is a chain reaction of bad luck. You have a delayed player stuck in the visa system, you have intense heat, high humidity, and a star player injured in a practice game.
It really proves how fragile a World Cup campaign actually is. I mean, fragile meaning easily broken.
Yes, very easily broken.
Yeah.
A whole team of people works for 4 straight years to reach this exact moment.
4 years of training and dreaming.
And then within just a few days, some bad weather and one bad tackle in a simple practice game can ruin everything.
It is heartbreaking for the fans and obviously for the players.
It is.
But, as difficult as the snakes and the heat are, they're still natural.
Right. They are acts of nature.
They're accidents of the environment. No one did it on purpose. But our final story from the research today is not an accident.
No, it is a human choice.
It is a human choice, and it is honestly the most serious crisis of the entire tournament.
Yes, because the other issues we talked about, the visas, the strikes, the snakes, they mostly affect the game of football.
Right, they affect the schedule or the practice.
But this issue affects human life. We are talking about a major, violent security crisis.
Let us tell the listener the facts from the reports. What exactly happened?
There was a severe security incident near the camp of the England national team.
The England team is living and training in the United States right now for this tournament, correct?
Yes. And according to the news sources, a shooting occurred very close to their location.
A shooting with a gun right near where the players are sleeping and practicing.
Yes. And it was not a small incident. It was a mass violence event. The reports confirm that 9 people were injured in this shooting.
9 people injured. That is an absolute tragedy.
It is terrible.
Now, I want to pause here and remind you, our listener, of our promise today on the podcast.
Right, our promise to stay neutral.
Exactly. We are delivering the facts from the sports news. We are strictly neutral. We are not going to discuss the politics of gun laws in the United States.
No, you're not doing that.
We are not analyzing the culture or taking a political side. We are only looking at the reality that a violent event happened right outside the door of the England football team and how it affects the tournament.
Stick to the facts and the reports. And the sources state very clearly that this event has caused rapidly rising security fears across the entire tournament.
Security fears. Let us explore what that actually means for the players and the people running the tournament.
Okay.
When a player goes to a World Cup, it is supposed to be a massive celebration.
Yes, a festival of sports.
You are a guest in a new country, you want to see the cities, you want to eat the local food, you want to wave at the fans from your hotel balcony.
You want to experience the culture.
But a shooting nearby changes that feeling instantly.
It changes the entire psychology of the event.
How so?
Well, football requires joy and creativity to play well. You have to feel free and relaxed. But violence brings fear and anxiety.
Right. When players hear police sirens outside their window all night.
When they read on their phones that 9 people were hurt just down the street from them.
The sport of football suddenly stops being very important.
Exactly. They stop thinking about the game, and they start worrying about their own physical safety.
And they worry about their families, right? A lot of players bring their wives and children to watch them play.
Oh, absolutely. The families are traveling with them, so the mental pressure on the player is immense.
I cannot even imagine. And the physical response from the tournament organizers is immediate, too. They have to protect the players.
Yes. When an event like this happens, the security teams create what we call a security bubble.
A security bubble. Listener, this is a very important concept. Please explain how a security bubble works in real life.
Sure. A security bubble is a strategy used by police and guards to completely isolate the players from the public.
Isolate meaning to separate them completely, keep them alone.
Exactly. Imagine an invisible, solid wall built all around the team.
Okay, I am imagining it.
Before the shooting happened, players might have been allowed to walk out the front door to a local coffee shop.
Just to get a coffee like normal people.
Right. Or they could meet fans in the hotel lobby and sign autographs.
But after the shooting.
After the shooting, the bubble is locked. It is sealed.
So their freedom to move is gone.
Completely gone. The hotel is surrounded by armed guards. The doors are locked to the public. No one comes in, no one goes out.
Wow.
When the team needs to go practice, they do not walk outside to a bus on the street.
How do they leave?
They go through a private underground door in a basement or a garage directly into a heavily armored bus.
Like a military vehicle.
Basically, yes. The bus drives very fast, with police cars with sirens in front of it and police cars behind it. It drives directly to the training camp.
And that training camp is probably also surrounded by high fences and heavily armed police, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
They arrive, they practice on the grass, they get right back on that same bus, and they go straight back to their hotel rooms.
So they do not go anywhere else.
Nowhere. They eat all their food in a private, closed room inside the hotel. They do not see the host country at all.
They do not interact with normal, everyday people.
No. They live in a very tight, highly controlled, and very stressful environment.
That sounds much more like a prison than a fun sports tournament.
It feels very isolating. But the organizers feel they have no choice.
Right. They have to keep them safe.
The primary goal, above the football, above everything, is to keep the athletes alive and unhurt.
So if security fears are rising because of the shooting, the bubble must become much stronger and tighter.
Yes. But the cost of that safety is the joy of the game. The players feel trapped inside.
The psychological weight of that must be just heavy, really heavy.
It is a massive burden on these young men.
Think about it. You are sitting in your hotel room, looking out the window, knowing that there is terrible violence nearby,
Yes.
knowing you absolutely cannot leave your room. And then, a few hours later, you have to put on your bright uniform and run out onto a field and pretend everything is totally fine for the television cameras.
It is extremely difficult mentally.
Yet it is a huge burden.
It is, and honestly, it connects back to everything we've discussed today in this deep dive.
It really does. The main theme of this 2026 World Cup, according to all our research, is friction.
Friction, resistance, things are simply not moving smoothly at all.
Let us pull all these threads together for the listener to summarize.
Good idea.
When we started this conversation, we said that bigger is not always better.
Right. 48 teams spread across the United States, Canada, and Mexico.
It sounded like a wonderful, great idea on paper in a meeting room.
But the reality on the ground is a logistical nightmare.
Exactly. We looked at the borders first. Visas are delayed for months.
Entire national teams like Iran and crucial people like referees are just stuck in the computer system.
Because global border security does not care about a football television schedule.
No. And even when the players finally get the visa stamp, they face exhausting detentions in small rooms at the airport.
Which completely ruins their physical and mental preparation before the games even begin.
Then we looked at the stadiums where they actually play.
Right, the huge, beautiful SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles.
Which is facing a massive strike of 2,000 union workers who want better contracts.
And because of FIFA's extremely strict, very slow background check rules for security badges,
the stadium managers cannot just hire temporary replacement workers from the city.
So the stadium operations are paralyzed. Then after that, we explored the training camps.
We saw how human planning, with all its money, is completely ruined by simple nature.
Switzerland and Norway are literally besieged by wild snakes trapping the players inside.
While the team from Morocco fights against heavy humidity and extreme heat, and they suffer a star player injury in a simple, friendly match.
And finally, we discussed the most serious issue of all, the real violent danger near the England camp,
9 people injured in a shooting.
which forced the players into an isolating, stressful security bubble, acting more like a prison than a hotel.
Every single one of these crises, the borders, the strikes, the animals, the violence, they all share one common truth.
What is that truth?
They show how incredibly hard it is to control the real world.
That is very true.
You can write the perfect rules for a football game on a piece of paper, but you cannot write rules for wild snakes.
You cannot write rules for unhappy workers who want better pay, or for border police who follow their own laws. It is a fascinating and honestly very chaotic picture of this event.
Be very chaotic.
To you, our listener, thank you so much for joining us on this journey today.
Yes, thank you for listening.
You practiced your English today by exploring very complex, very real global issues.
You learned how labor unions work, how travel visas function, and how security bubbles operate in real life.
This is the real English you need to understand the world and read international news. So congratulations on doing that work today.
Yes, excellent practice today. The vocabulary we used is very useful.
But before we completely finish, let us leave you with one final thought to think about on your own.
A provocative thought.
Yes. Think about this. The World Cup used to be an event with 32 teams, and it was hosted in just one single country.
Right. The organizers could focus all of their attention and all their money on a very small map.
It was contained, but now they have stretched the tournament across 3 of the largest countries on Earth, with 48 teams.
That is 50% more teams and thousands of more miles to travel.
Exactly. So here's the question for you, the listener, to think about as you sit down to watch the next match on television.
Did FIFA make a huge mistake?
Is it possible that a sports event can become too big?
When we see the airport delays, the stadium strikes, and all security fears,
You have to ask the big question. Have we created a tournament that is simply too large for humans to actually manage safely?
it is a question of human limits. At what exact point does the massive size of the event actually destroy the event itself?
Something for you to think about. Thank you again for joining us on the Daily English podcast for this deep dive.
It was great having you here.
Keep listening, keep thinking about the world, and keep practicing your English every single day. We will see you next time.